Welcome to the VIA Podcast, presented by AAA Mountain West Group. On this episode, you'll find out what made Mindy say this.
I won't say never, but highly likely that I will not be on a surfboard anytime soon. But I would love to see all the pros do it.
And you'll find out what made Michelle say this.
I did have a life-changing experience. I had a puka dog. It was so good. And you'll find out why our guest said this.
I'd say the ocean is my church. The wave is like, the curl of the wave is like the nave of a church. I feel so close to all the surfers of the past. I feel so close to the Hawaiians. I just think of all they've left us.
Let's get into it. It's summer on the VIA Podcast, and we are heading to the beach. And not just any beach, but the sandy beaches of Hawaii. We're going to be diving into surfing culture this episode.
I love Hawaii. I don't know if you know this, but I was born in Hawaii. So every time I go back, it just feels like a homecoming. I get this sort of peace when I go.
I didn't know that about you. Did you know that I was married in Hawaii?
I don't know if I knew that about you, but I will say we have a lot in common.
We do. We're talking to Mindy Pennybacker. She is a surfing legend and a Honolulu native. She started surfing in her early teens and she knows her way around the islands. Recently, she wrote a book on her experiences as a woman surfer called Surfing Sisterhood Hawaii.
We're going to find out what makes Hawaiian surfing an experience like no other. Mindy, welcome to the VIA Podcast. Have you gone surfing yet?
I have, yes. I went surfing from about 8 till 9, a short session.
What an incredible way to start the morning.
Is it like a morning like ritual, or how many times a week are you waking up to surf?
I just wake up and then I check it because I live 2 blocks from the beach where the surf breaks. And then I decide whether to go. I mean, sometimes it's really crummy, but I've learned that, as a friend said out surfing today, if you can surf in bad conditions, you're just going to surf so much better in good conditions.
True.
Yeah.
True. Some people walk their dogs in the morning, but you go surfing.
Yeah, I like to go early in the morning. You know, it's fresh and you emerge all cool and awake to start the workday.
Mm-hmm.
The evenings are more tense because the sun's setting. So everybody's a little more, they have to, like, we all have to get in by dark.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No one wants to be out there alone.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's really got more of a deadline than morning. Mornings are mellow.
In the perfect world, can you just describe to us when you do catch the wave that you want in the place that you want? What is that experience like for you? What is it like surfing?
I mean, it's just amazing. I was just thinking about it this morning, paddling out. You hear the sound of the wavelets kind of tapping under your board. So it's like you're on a boat, but you're all alone. You have no other obligations except to yourself and the safety of the others around you on their own boards. And the farther I get from shore, like you leave shore, then you can't hear the traffic sounds. The sound of the waves gets louder and louder, and seabirds wheel overhead, you know, like surfing the breeze. And you get out there and find the lineup, you know, the point, the apex of the triangle graphically drawn out from land in your head, where the waves are likely to break, and you paddle out a bit, position yourself, see if anyone else is going who's deeper than you, or if they're deeper means closer, like closer to the curl. You have to make sure you're on the wave. You have to paddle with all your might, just reaching as far forward as you can. And then you find you're on the wave, you feel it pick you up. So you spring up, you know, like in a crouch, and then you just turn and you just slide along. And then you can play with the wave because it curls down the line, a good wave.
Mm-hmm.
So you can cut up under the curl and cut back. And I can feel the wave, the contours of it through my board. And it's just it's like flying. It's total freedom. I'm totally uninhibited. I'm just plugged into this wave. And that moment, that's all I'm aware of. It's like flying, and I'm seeing the seabirds. So that's what makes it worth all the grunting and grinding and all the wind chop
Right.
and
Sure.
all the wipeouts.
Yeah.
It sounds like almost a spiritual experience, the way that you describe it.
I'd say the ocean is my church.
Ooh.
A wave is like the curl of the wave is like the nave of a church.
Mm.
I feel so close to all the surfers of the past. I feel so close to the Hawaiians and, to family who've surfed and to people who've, gone before who are dead.
Yeah.
And I just think of all they've left us.
Well, that gave me chills. How did you begin surfing?
Well, I grew up near the ocean and my grandfather taught me to swim at a very young age in the ocean. And I just saw surfers out there. And I loved the ocean. I felt weightless.
Mm-hmm.
We could dive around and see little fish, tropical fish. And I asked him if I could learn to surf. And I guess I was about 12 or 13.
Mm-hmm.
A friend took me body surfing at Kailua Shore Break on the other side of Oahu from where I live. I live in town in Honolulu by Diamond Head. And my grandfather said, well, you have to be able to swim a mile in the ocean in less than an hour, and I'm going to time you.
Oh, wow.
And so he just stood there with his watch, and I'd swim out. He's out the channel into the ocean, and there's a lot of currents. So I learned a lot of respect for the sea. And then I took lessons from a family friend, a Calabash uncle at Waikiki, where everyone starts out at Queen Surf, really. It's the most beautiful wave in the world, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So symmetrical. And it's just a long, long ride if you get in the pocket there when you take off. So he got me up to speed. Then I just started paddling out here with kids from the neighborhood and learned all the latest styles. And I've been doing it ever since. I still compete with kids for waves at our local break, Sui's, formerly known as Suicides, now known as Sui's, to kind of soften its effect. It used to be called Suicides because the reef is so shallow there. And we spread a rumor that it would be suicide to go out. We tried to keep the crowds down.
Oh, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Surfers are very territorial, I'm afraid.
You wrote a book called Surfing Sisterhood. What inspired you to write this book?
It was actually, the publisher lives in my neighborhood, and he said, Mindy, I want you to write a nonfiction book about women surfing, because when I see you and other women paddling out, you look so happy, like you're going to a party or something. When I see guys going out, they're always in a pack and they look like they're going to war. So I want to know why the different attitudes, And so I couldn't refuse. I wrote it. I talked more to other women who surf around me, and I talked to women who surf all over the island from all generations, pros and amateurs. I made a lot of friends. And I really gained a deeper understanding of what everyone goes through. And one common denominator was that women, even like 5-time world champ from Hawaii, Carissa Moore, they feel intimidated by men. There's still only like one woman to every 4 men out surfing. But kind of commensurately with this book, in the past 2 years, surfing has really taken off. I mean, they've been given their contests back at Pipeline, probably the most dangerous radical wave in the world. And there's just a lot more joy for me because there are a lot more women out, and women, as the publisher noted, women just have a more relaxed attitude. And we do our own thing, It's like women, I think, aren't afraid to surf organically. We don't just shred and slash the wave. I mean, we can if we're in a competition and we know that'll get points, but
sure.
I think we're just more classic Hawaiian down the line surfers.
But I also understand that as a youngster, you were the only girl member on the Tongs Surf Gang, a competitive group of boys in your neighborhood in Honolulu. So I'm just curious, how did you exactly break into it, and what were they welcoming to you at first, since you, I guess, don't fit the stereotypical surfer?
They were totally welcoming. I think because we were like 14, 13, and they were very shy about meeting girls. And here was a girl who wanted to surf, but there was a core of the Tongs gang who lived in my neighborhood. And we became really close friends. And they were very ambitious for me. I think I was really totally unathletic at school. I would just run away if a ball came at me. And the only thing I could do was swim. And they just really coached me and made me take waves that were increasingly advanced or risky. And they entered me in like this Waikiki junior surf competition. So
Oh,
they were
that's
really,
cool.
really encouraging. They were not sexist at all.
I would disagree with you, by the way. You said you weren't athletic, how we were just like the bookworms. But when I think about surfing, you have to use your core. I would imagine that you were pretty athletic.
Everything. Your arms, your legs. You swam a mile in
Everything.
the ocean when you were like 12.
You have to really want it. It's so grueling. And at 12, I wanted to do this more than anything in the world. I was so sick of being a bookworm.
Going back to your book, did you know that you were going to name your book Surfing Sisterhood, or did you develop this sisterhood while you were writing the book? And did you end up naming it because of your experience in the process?
Oh, Michelle, you're spot on there. I'm actually kind of shy, and I used to go out surfing because I lived in New York for a really long time, most of my adult life, and moved back to Hawaii about 15 years ago. Took a job here in journalism. And I would only surf here like on vacation. So I felt like I didn't really know the other girls out in the surf and they didn't like me. But then I was forced to talk with them, and they're all in the book. I really ended up naming it Surfing Sisterhood Hawaii because of how I felt we were sisters. And it was wonderful to talk with people who had only been legends to me. Hawaiian surfers like Rochelle Ballard and Lynn Boyer and Kayla Kennelly. I mean, not to mention my idol, Carissa Moore. But, they give me tips and they surf all different size boards. And the book really made me reach out.
You talked about what surfing means to the Hawaiian culture. What did you learn about that?
Well, I learned that, for instance, surfing goes back, it was practiced by goddesses and gods. So Pele, who formed the Hawaiian Islands with her volcanic eruptions, she's the goddess of fire, and she came from Tahiti. All the gods came from Tahiti. And she surfed, and her sister, Hi'iaka, the goddess of hula, also surfed. And so hula and song and chant are the way the Hawaiian history was handed down. It was an oral history. There were some symbolic carvings, but they didn't have a real written history. So hula was essential to the culture. And today and back then, many hula dancers also surf. That's how integral both practices are to the culture. So the surfer in Hawaii, everybody culturally, they malamed the land and the ocean.
Why is surfing a great way for visitors to experience Hawaiian culture?
It's because it's the quintessential Hawaiian sport, and they're alone on their board. So it's them and the ocean. They'll be hopefully in a group with an instructor, so they have camaraderie and they have people to watch and get feedback from. But there's nothing more Hawaiian you can do than surf or hula, I suppose. I was always really clunky at it. You're going to see Hawaiian people and local people all around you, and watch them carefully. See how they behave and interact. There'll be bullies among everybody, but there'll also be courtesy, kind, courteous people. And you can emulate that. So surfing, it just makes me feel more confident. I feel stronger when I get out of the water, no matter what happened, even if I don't catch a wave. And just if you're surfing, you may be a really good surfer from California or somewhere, but have some humility and respect because it's local people's territory. They go there all the day. They're going to know you're not from here. So just smile. It really helps. Like there's this man, it's like my break, but I'm resigned to letting other people surf there, right? So I grew up there. It's our fault that the break was sort of developed because no one used to go there before we kids did. But there's this man he's a local man with dark glasses, and I was always terrified of him because he just looked so mean. I've seen him out there for years in this giant longboard. And then the other day, I had to go in. And so I took the wave he was taking. And that's a very bad breach of etiquette. I dropped in on him, but quite far down I just went. And then he just smiled and I said, I'm sorry, I have to go in. He goes, go anytime. So mellow. And so if you just smile and talk with people, ask them questions about the break and respect priority. Like you might be really great. Take a wave. Don't come back out and take another one. There's people lined up. It's really the next person's turn in the lineup.
Right.
No one really
Okay.
respects this, but if you do, people will respect you. And they'll also respect
Sure.
you if they see you can surf. But know your abilities.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't go to advanced breaks
Right.
if you're not advanced,
That
if
makes
you're a
sense.
beginner.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah.
surfers are very greedy, but I'm trying to be less greedy. And I noticed that as I'm getting older and now kids call me auntie, people are being nicer to me. So that's,
Aw.
yeah, like they're not, fighting with me as much. They're being kinder. Like,
Yeah.
who's this frail, rickety old person?
And then you get up, you ride the waves. Like, actually,
Exactly.
I can teach you a thing
exactly.
or two.
Auntie can surf.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. More of the Via podcast is on the way after this short message.
Hi, Maggie here, your daydreaming AAA travel advisor. I must confess, some afternoons I stare out the window and imagine I'm relaxing on a beach in Hawaii. It doesn't matter how many times I've been to the islands, I'm always left wanting more. Maybe it's the warm, clear water. Maybe it's the fresh seafood. Maybe it's the history and culture. But it's also that aloha spirit of generosity and harmony in nature. You'll find it on Maui, where you can volunteer to help rebuild Lahaina after the devastating fires in 2023. You'll spot it in Kauai, along the sacred green cliffs of the Nepali coast. On Oahu, you'll recognize it in artists performing traditional Hawaiian music and aunties teaching kids how to hula. And on my bucket list, you can feel it watching the Kilauea volcano erupt fountains of lava on the Big Island. Whichever island captures your fancy, AAA Travel can help you get there. Learn more by visiting AAA.com/Via podcast.
Hey, thanks for sticking around. Let's get back into it on the Via podcast. Who can surf? Like, I'm in my early 40s and I've never surfed before. Like, could I surf? Like,
Of
who
course.
can surf?
Michelle, anybody and everybody who loves the water and who really wants to ride waves, who gets it, that person should surf.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's not the sport for you, but you have to try. And the odds are that, like your sons, you're going to really have a good time because you're going to pick a surf instructor and you're going to really learn. But I just wanted to read you something this is an early visitor to Hawaii. The French sailor Theodore Adolphe Barrault in 1836, he said that he saw the entire female population of Kealakekua strip entirely naked and plunge into the waves and ride upon the foaming crest of the surges. So these are children, young women, middle-aged women, old women, anyone who can still paddle and swim on their wooden boards without skates. That's what they're doing. And he watched the mother of Queen Ka'ahumanu was the first wife, the favorite wife of Kamehameha I.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the king who consolidated the islands under one ruler. And her mother, Namahana, who was from Maui, was one of these surfers. And then Ka'ahumanu surfed with King Kamehameha. And the thing is, like you have an image of the surfer, woman or man, blonde, six-pack abs, broad shoulders, really svelte. But like these women, these royal women, to be a chief, to be an ali'i, you had to be really corpulent because that was a sign of your social status in a subsistence economy where people often were on the verge of starvation because they depended entirely on fishing and farming. And so these women were very corpulent, enormous, and they surfed really gracefully. I mean, historians have described Ka'ahumanu just taking radical waves, jumping out of a canoe with her surfboard with her husband, and taking these radical waves and cutting in through a little inlet into a pool in the reef. It really doesn't have to do with body type.
Yeah. My kids took surf lessons this summer. We go to Southern California every summer. If you live in Arizona like me, I swear half the state, we make like a pilgrimage to Southern California. I have almost 11-year-old twins and an 8-year-old, all boys.
Nice.
They love the water. They love boogie boarding.
Uh-huh.
So this year, my dad was like, I'm going to rent a surfboard and they can watch YouTube and learn how to surf.
What?
Mindy, well, her eyes went wide. Like, what did he say? What did your dad say?
So he wanted to rent a surfboard and then have my kids watch YouTube to learn how to surf.
Yeah. Did they do that?
No, Mindy, they did not, because I said, that is a terrible idea.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, we want someone who knows how to surf to teach them how to surf.
yeah.
So there is a little surfing school, and the 4 cousins, including my 2 boys, they took a 90-minute surf lesson, and they had the best time. They said it was the most fun activity of our vacation. And after watching them, I thought maybe next year I might take a surfing lesson. I might do it. You know, when I think surfing, I think California, probably because of proximity, but also when I think about Hawaiian surfing, I think about the North Shore, and I think about these giant waves that have been in movies and, you know, on TV. Does Hawaii have good surfing for beginners? Is it a good place to learn how to surf?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the ultimate place to learn how to surf because, first of all, you don't have to wear a wetsuit unless you're a very cold person like me.
That would be me.
Me too.
But this is where the sport was born. Surfing was created by Hawaiians when they settled Hawaii after celestial navigating from Tahiti. So they're the original ocean people, and it's just so much part of our culture here. So some really good places for beginners to go are Queen Surf in Waikiki, where I started out. It's just absolutely a classic, beautiful wave. It gets very crowded.
Okay.
But people are tolerant. They know that there are going to be some beginners, and it's really best to take a lesson first. There are lots of places you can take lessons right down there at the beach. You just find one. And then there's Queens Beach, where you go out to a break called Publix and Castles. So Castles used to be called Kalehuawehe, and that was called Lehuale. The lehua is an orange, the flower of Oahu. With the ancient Hawaiians, they did have allocated breaks in some places like Waikiki, which was the most prime surf place in all the islands. Outside at Kalehuawehe, that's where the legendary Duke Kahanamoku, like the gold medal Olympic swimmer from the 1920s, that's where he caught a huge wave. I mean, when the waves are big in Waikiki, they're just like the North Shore. They're majestic. They break all the way out to the horizon.
Oh,
he
wow.
caught a big wave at Kalehuawehe, and he rode it clear across Mamala Bay, the Bay of Waikiki. He rode it at least a mile and came in at Queen's Surf, Kuhio Beach.
So that's pretty far.
Yeah.
He rode the wave for a mile?
Because he would intersect with different breaks. He took off at Castles. He went through Publix. He went through other breaks that only break when it's big. And then he intersected with Kuhio Beach, Queen's Surf, and came in near Canoes, which is another break just past Queen's Surf. In California, Michelle, you have a lot of beach breaks, right? It's just like a sandbar, boom. In Hawaii, we have reef breaks, and then like where I go, and then there's point breaks that are really well shaped. On Kauai, Hanalei Bay, which everyone's probably heard of, you know, there are lots of songs about it. Classic Hawaiian Valley, you know, like taro fields and stuff. It's so beautiful. And it's a 2-mile long stretch of beach, and it's got a sand break. It's like a beach break, but it breaks a little farther out. So if you're on a board, you don't just like go stabbing it right into the sand.
Okay.
And there's also on the South Shore, like the Waikiki side of Kauai, there's Poipu, which has many surf schools, and that's a good summer break. You know, the North Shores usually break autumn through spring, and the South Shores usually break maybe sometimes in winter through autumn. So you have different seasons. There are some challenging breaks farther away from actual Central Poipu Beach I've tried, where the water sucks out, the wave jacks up, and you're looking at like a lava rock slab.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
But somehow, you know, you can make it it just depends on your experience. And
sometimes you can make it. Mindy, that's not promising at all.
I mean, I went there and I did make it, but I had to have faith in the other surfers there, the local surfers who just told me, go, go, go. And so I went, and it was this fabulous ride. So hollow and big.
That's fantastic. I've been to Kauai. I got married on the North Shore in Princeville, and then we sort of honeymooned on Poipu. So I'm like, as you're saying this, I'm like, I know the
You know
places
these
you're
places.
talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So that
Beautiful.
yeah.
What a great thing.
Yeah, I want to go back to the difference between California and Hawaii. I understand that you've been surfing before in California, Northern California, Año Nuevo, and you said you would never surf there again.
That face says it all.
Yeah, the space and the reaction. What are the differences between surfing in California and Hawaii? And why would you not surf in Northern California again?
Oof.
Basically, it's first and foremost the temperature of the water. So I was in college in Northern California, and I joined the surf club. In fact, I chose this college because you could get to the beach from it, although you had to go over all these hills, you know. And so it was the first time in my life I wore a wetsuit. And then there was all this kelp at Año Nuevo. It's where the elephant seals mate and give birth. So there were all these elephant seals, and they can charge you. They can go as fast as a freight train if they get mad. So I was kind of nervous about that. And, the people I were with were just kind of like, we were all kind of dweeby academic types, right? I mean, some people were on the swim team, but no one really understood. And then the sharks, the great white sharks, often attack people at Año Nuevo, mistaking people in their black wetsuits for elephant seals, like baby elephant seals, which is one of their favorite foods. And then you're paddling out in this thick yellow kelp, these thick beds where the sharks like to come up, and grasp the seals.
Oh, that's terrifying.
So I couldn't see a thing, and my skeg and my arms are getting stuck in this kelp. But I've surfed Southern California, and it's okay. At Huntington Beach, a beach break, it's hard for me to adjust because there's the waves break so suddenly, and they're so tubular. And then you're in such shallow water when the wave ends. You're like knee deep and sloshing around. I have great respect for California surfers.
Well, I am curious because I will not. Okay, I won't say never, but highly likely that I will not be on a surfboard anytime soon. But I would love to see all the pros do it. So what are some great places to watch the pros surf in Hawaii?
I also love watching people surf. Surfing competitions are so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, they're not only great pros here, but they're fabulous amateurs and young people, like students. So you should go, first of all, to the City and County of Honolulu Parks Department website. They have a calendar of North and South Shore surfing competitions on Oahu. And so, of course, in the winter, the most famous is probably the Eddie Aikau Big Wave Invitational at Waimea Bay, which is like a natural arena. So you can stand and sit on the cliffs and watch them come in.
Oh, that's fun.
30-foot waves, which means 60 foot, like is 30-foot Hawaiian is 60-foot California.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
oh my God.
Of course, there are many pipeline competitions during the winter. And one really fun one is the Dahui Shootout. It's a Hawaiian surf club from way back. And it's, pros and amateurs love to compete in all kinds of ways. When we talked about Duke Kahanamoku, there's a Duke's Ocean Fest at Kuhio Beach and Queens Beach in Waikiki. It's just like a big aquatic party with surfers of all ages. There's a really cool one in the winter, the Buffalo Keaulana Big Board Competition at Makaha. That's all amateurs. And they even surf like in inflatable tubes or surf longboards.
That's fun.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, yeah. So there's several pro events, mostly at Haleiwa Pipeline and Sunset Beach. The first women to surf were allowed to surf the Eddie Aikau at Waimea Bay in 2023.
Wow.
And that competition has been around for 30 years. So you can see how women really had to fight for representation. And now there are like 6 women to a field of 28, but it's growing. I mean,
it's a start.
Yep.
If you come to Hawaii, how can we be respectful as tourists?
Okay, well, thank you for asking. I think that tourists really do care, most of them, especially tourists who want to get out in nature and go in the ocean. It's really important to respect Hawaiian culture and history and to know that in 1883, the Hawaiian kingdom was forcibly and illegally overthrown by American sugar planters
Mm-hmm.
and American military. So there are a lot of Hawaiian people who just feel disinherited because their land was seized. Some of it was kept as public lands, some of the crown lands, because Hawaii was an independent constitutional monarchy. So with that in mind, know that this is Hawaiian land, but some Hawaiians feel thrown off their lands and thrown out of their seas. It's very hard to find beach access. There is, by law, there has to be beach access every mile or so along the shore, and there has to be lateral beach access above the high tide line on any beach. But landowners are very cunning about how to obscure and hide and plant things to hide beach accesses. So make sure you're using, not tromping through someone's yard. And you can volunteer for beach cleanups,
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Look at Surfrider Foundation's website. They do these regularly. One thing you could do is if you're next in priority for a wave and you see someone who is also in a good position, maybe a better position, they haven't gotten a wave in a while, just say, hey, you go. And that will win you a lot of friends.
My final question for you is, what is one other thing to do, eat, experience in Hawaii that you want our listeners to know?
Surfing does build up an appetite. I think a really good thing is to get a mahi burger. Definitely try Hawaiian food. That's really going to be a revelation. Poi, the staple of the diet. Laulau, the luau leaves from the taro plant. So the core of the taro plant, the fruit, like a potato, is mashed into poi. And then the leaves are like spinach and they're made into luau leaves. And then it's wrapped around chicken or fish or pork and steamed, sometimes with the whole pig and an emu in the ground.
I did not surf when I visited Hawaii, but I did have a life-changing experience. I had a puka dog. Have you had a puka dog before? Was this just like a thing on Kauai, or is this it was a life-changing, and I was a vegetarian hot dog, but it was so good. Do you know about puka dogs?
I don't, Michelle, but I love vegetarian hot dogs.
Okay. It was like a Hawaiian sweet roll, and they sear or toast the inside of it. And then they put the toppings inside of it. So it was you can do the traditional, or you could do mango and all sorts of tropical things. And they put the hot dog or the veggie dog inside of it. And I've been dreaming about it ever since. It was so good.
Mindy, thank you so much for being on the VIA podcast.
Oh, thank you both. What a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Mitty, we love Hawaii.
We do.
Mindy loves Hawaii. Guess who else loves Hawaii?
Our AAA listeners.
That's right. AAA member Rosalind O'Donnell from Arizona recommends taking a helicopter ride above Kauai. She writes, "It's a breathtaking bird's eye view. I love that I got to sit in the front with the pilot. Just make sure you are not afraid of heights."
Now I am afraid of heights. And while I won't go surfing, I would totally take a helicopter ride.
I'm the opposite. I was going to say, if I have to choose between surfing or a helicopter, put me on a board. Put me on a board.
I would have never guessed that. We also heard from AAA member Kathy Piamarta from California. When she goes to Hawaii, she heads to the Big Island for orchid farms, whale watching, black sand beaches, and the famous sweetbread at Punalu'u Bake Shop. It's really hard to come back to reality after being in Hawaii. She says if Kilauea or Mauna Loa are erupting, go see it. It's an experience you'll never forget.
That sounds delicious. Let's get some sweetbread and go watch the lava flows.
Yes, Michelle, I'm so down.
Do you want to reach out to the VIA podcast? Send us a note. You can email us at viamail@viamagazine.com. We love your feedback, and you may hear your email on a future podcast. The VIA podcast is hosted by Michelle Donati and Mitty Hicks. Executive producers Whitney Phaneuf, April Kilcrease, and Dan Miller. Produced by Jason Jackson and Dave Beasing of Sound That Brands.
Discover more places to travel in the West at AAA.com/VIA. VIA magazine is published by AAA Mountain West Group.
The views and opinions expressed by podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of AAA Mountain West Group or its personnel.